Peeps, based on observing comments and interacting with people on the streets, well, viewers and subscribers, a lot of positives are normally associated with what we do in terms of interviews. However, I don't think a lot of people really understand that there's also a bit of a dark side to the interview, some of the interviews that I have done. And it's really something that plays on my mind, something that, I spend a lot of time battling with leading up to some interviews or arranging some interviews or deciding not to do. That is why some interviews probably take longer to happen and some just don't happen. Having observed things that transpires after I have interviewed a few people. Now, irrespective of who I interview, no matter how big, no matter how small, quote unquote, in terms of impact or success the artist has had, if I interview someone, something changes in terms of whether it is the number of streams that they get, whether it is dub plate requests, whether it is shows because promoters reach out, whether it is my interview lead to another series of interviews, something changes. But one of the things that I've observed, and so much so that I have interviewed people who said that, them only want one car, and then me get pictures with artists a drive off a car mat, or artists call me and say, teach boy, the thing change the thing. And I've gotten calls where artists leave dub plate studios with $300, $400, $500,000 in their pocket. Like in a 1 day, 2 day situation. Me not get too deep into that, but I'm just saying all of that to say one of the dark issues that comes out of the interviews is that when I interview people who would have suffered from substance abuse or alcohol abuse in the past, what ends up happening sometimes is that those habits, even if they are dormant, are then reignited through the proceeds of the interviews. So let me explain that a little bit more. So the interview is done, the sound man them start reach out, dub plate start do, money start make, those habits, the temptation to fund those habits, I guess, increases. And I have seen instances where multiple persons who have interviewed have gone back down a path where kind of break my heart. And it was after the events of the interview, whichever it was dub plate or shows, book, whatever. Some artists have gone to countries where they've never performed before out of interviews that we have done together and them something. So that kind of, it give you some interviews give you a bittersweet type of vibe. Yes, it is awesome to document these stories and these journeys, the challenges that they face, the successes. However, for no say out of your work, certain type of lifestyle or lifestyles is being funded. It kind of, well, for me personally, because I want every human being to live the best possible life that they can and free from all type of abuse, substance, physical, emotional, sexual, all type of abuses. So for no say, out of what you think is a great thing that you're doing, which it is, however, with everything in life, there are pros and cons, that kind of threw me out sometime. And then I have seen some of these individuals, after they have slipped back down that particular slope, and it break my heart, family. You understand? And then a number of these entertainers, after they slip down that slope, they reach out back to you, so they want a follow-up interview because the thing kind of X and the thing kind of Y. That can't happen. Well, that will never happen. You understand? Because I am not prepared to facilitate that twice in terms of funding certain lifestyle. You understand? I have seen with my own eyes artists that I have interviewed and on camera, them we talk about things and then promise to teach that is in the past. I'm done with that. I'm not go back there. So, and then somebody called me or somebody sent me a video or a picture, or I'm up on the road and I see some things and hear some things. And me personally don't like that. That is a bit of a challenge that people don't even understand, readily look at, because I understand why people don't really even contemplate that still. So it rough more time, man. So you get some opportunities to interview some people, but based on your research or things that you have been told, they may have been involved in substance abuse in the past. You're kind of tentative and you approach that very cautiously, and sometimes you delay the interview because you just don't want to be the trigger behind the reigniting of those habits. You understand what I say? And then now, sometimes you just don't bother touch some interviews. And as I say, one of the recurring themes is that these individuals tend to reach out to you wanting another interview or a follow-up interview. And that just not going to happen, because as I say, I will not facilitate openly, knowingly certain habits. You understand? Or provide an opportunity or a platform for the proliferation or continuation of certain habits. It's just part and parcel of the challenges that we deal with in the background that people don't really understand or turn an eye to unless, we mention these things. So it's as I said in the previous video that I did answering some interview related questions, a whole heap of little things, man. And if people who do what I do willing to say certain things, you learn some things where will shock you. It really and truly throw me out. You understand? More time I have some conversation with Scotty and man, like, rough, because you feel a little bit guilty. Well, I feel a little bit guilty knowing say it is directly as a result of that interview why certain opportunities now open up in terms of supporting certain lifestyles and habits. I'm gonna like that. Documenting the history of the music is awesome. I enjoy that to the fullest. You understand? Hence I spend so much time doing my research, preparing myself for these interviews. See? But to know that, so many, a number of artists would have gone back down a particular road after doing an interview, it doesn't sit well with me, with my spirit. Like, it breaks my heart, man. You understand? So that's one of the reasons why sometimes, see certain interviews or certain interviews not happen or not gonna happen. And then when you do these interviews, you talk to these people, very, very openly and on camera and off camera. And them convince us about I teach me done with that, man. That now happen again. And you see some things after I hear some things where Jaja. Peeps, rough out there. Big up on yourself. I'm gone.